Well, in this operation, our warfighters on the front lines were our medical professionals, our doctors, our nurses, our respiratory therapists, our medics. All of our medical professionals are on the front lines. But I'll tell you, it takes about, for every one warfighter, you need about 3 sustainers, right? Because that is about what it requires to get a theater set in order to sustain all of those warfighters that are out there on the front lines. Everything from protective equipment, the PPE, the scrubs, the gowns, all of those kinds of things. The contracts. So this was very heavy on contracting as well for this particular operation in the United States. So the capabilities the Army Reserve brought to this fight were absolutely monumental. And I will tell you that the Urban Augmentation Task Force that were created, the Army had the foresight to start dipping into the reserve side of the house for capability, because we have in our United States Army, we have more than 50% of our capability for the Army in the reserve component, the Army Reserve and the National Guard. And so as we started using a lot of the hospital capability, the hospital center capability, and the active component, the Army was leaning forward, getting things ready on the reserve component side. So the Urban Augmentation Task Force went from idea to actually these units, these 85-pack units being created in less than 2 weeks. Just amazing. I would say that probably not very different at all. It's just a different, just a little bit of differences. And we train for this kind of chaos and catastrophe all the time. I have units training nonstop, day and night, 365, for the worst case of possibly what could happen. And so this one just had a medical flavor to it, or a pandemic flavor. And so everybody quickly adapted to that and jumped into action to make things happen. It's pretty awesome to be the commander of Army North. So actually we have a collage chart that we show of all the things. Dorian, which turned into the federal disaster response, or the foreign disaster response for Bahamas. We got to do the World Scout Jamboree. It hasn't been hosted in the United States for decades, and we got to participate in that. The Super Bowl, the United Nations General Assembly. There are all these things that we get to participate in. And this year it'll be the Democratic National Convention, the Republican National Convention. We get to do really cool things in Army North. And so I would just say, if you've never been in Army North, you want to come to this organization. I am so proud of all of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I mean, I would never think in the Land Component Command, we are a joint force Land Component Command, that I would ever have sailors that would work for the GIFLIC. And actually they did this time. And so I had about 850 Navy medical professionals. I had airmen, I had Army, Marines. It was just phenomenal. And truly, this is, I got to talk to Mayor De Blasio yesterday in New York City for 30 minutes, and he just said the military was the light of hope for New York City, and we got there in just the nick of time to be able to help them. And when they saw the uniform and the military coming to their city to help, it was just like the cavalry was coming in, and he was so thankful. And so I try to share that with all of our personnel, and medical personnel, and military professionals that are working in this COVID response.